What's up guys, my name is Zero Heroes and welcome back to more Call to Arms Panzer Elite, and it is the news update, EA update version 0.03.00. And although while there is a lot of zeros, but as you know the updates come, there'll be less zeros and more actual proper numbers. But today this is all about kind of a small kind of update that has come to the Panzer Elite, all about kind of general fixes and about kind of anti-stuck helper, which is a new exciting feature, which means that if you get stuck, it will automatically mean that you'll get unstuck, which is very, very exciting. And because I've been very frustrated about that, that's something very excited about. They're also talking about skirmishes, audio, missions, visual, and small adjustments. So this is a nice wee small update. So if you guys like to see more content update like this, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and we are very close to 3k, and if we can do that before the end of the year, that'd be fantastic. So without further ado guys, let's just get straight into it. So this was posted on Friday the 31st of October, 2 days before it was actually before it came out, or when it was posted. So let's just get into it. So as you may have noticed that we have changed our formatting for patches. Going forward, you'll see release version 0, so 0 is meaning EA, patch version or hotfix. So every time you see EA, it just means that it is number 0 or 0. So effectively it is 0 version 0.0 version 3. Basically 0 EA just means 0 from now on. So for anybody that's confused by EA, that's just what it means. So let's go on to the general fixes and changes. So first of all, the first thing they talk about is the vehicle building destruction changes. So basically now that tank weights and speeds are now taken into factor for building destruction. So that means that heavier and faster tanks will drive through buildings easier than a tank that is lighter and slower. That's quite interesting. So when I was kind of reading through this, I feel like that means that maybe like a tank like the M4 Sherman, or sorry, actually the perfect tank would be like a Panzer 4H, because that is heavier, but it's also faster than possibly, I'm trying to maybe think like it's not faster than a Stuart. I'm thinking like it's heavier than a Panzer 3, I think, or I don't know if the Panzer 3 is faster. I'm trying to think of a tank that's of a Panzer 4 that's faster. I don't know if a Panzer 4H or the Panzer 4 is heavier than a M4 Sherman, because if it is, then that would be a good comparison, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you guys actually know what tank specifically is heavier and faster than a Panzer 4H or a Panzer 4, then let me know in the comments down below. Basically, it means that if, for this case instance, that if a Panzer 4 is heavier and faster than an M4 Sherman, basically that means the Panzer 4 will basically drive through easier than, let's say, an M4 Sherman that is maybe lighter or slower, basically in that case. So that is what it means. Tanks are properly slowed upon driving into buildings, even though I thought it was already quite slow when driving into building. Literally because you know this is still like early access, or effectively like because the game is new, when you do drive it into building, it does slow you right down, or even sometimes when it is glitched, it actually comes complete stop. So the fact that they had to actually slow that down is something I didn't actually think that was an actual problem, because they already got slowed down. And when you see the AI driving into buildings, they would actually stop or get just completely stuck into a building. So I don't know if there was a need to actually slow down driving into a building, because it was already quite slow. There was a further adjustment needed to this, but this is the first iteration. So obviously this is like a wee part of a large section of vehicle building destruction changes. So this is actually some good few changes. Not everything is brilliant, but I would say this is a good start. Going to anti-stuck helper. So we've added a new, or an anti-tank stuck feature, or an anti-stuck feature that should automatically kick in if the tank belly is stuck on rubble or debris. You do not need to manually activate this. Just try to drive backwards, and if you're stuck on rubble. So basically that's actually a really good thing, something that I actually was really excited for, because the amount of times that I have been stuck on buildings or things and I just couldn't move or get stuck, I would actually have to use basically another friendly AI tank, you know, to switch over to push my tank my original tank so it could get out, and it actually worked that way. But as I mentioned before, I think there should be like a tow system where your tank should have like a towing system where you, if one of your tanks do get stuck, you should be able to hop in another tank and basically rescue them, tow them out, which would kind of make it quite a fun, kind of realistic kind of feature. But I do see kind of this anti-tank, this anti-stuck feature is a good system to put in as well, because it just means that you will automatically just get unstuck. Now I don't know if that means it'll kind of like teleport you back to kind of like the main ground bit, or if it just means it will kind of just swiftly move you back. I've not actually tested this feature out yet, but if for those who have tested it, then let me know what it's like. And while you're down there, also make sure you subscribe to make sure you get more awesome content. Announcement and updates. Updates are now shown on the homepage when you open it on the game at the bottom right. So that means when you open the game on the bottom right, you will see future updates, which is really cool to see. But you can also see them on the main page here. The tank mantlet fixes. So destroyed mantlet parts now properly block MG fire. Previously, if it was broken, it would allow MG fire to penetrate the tank internal components. To be fair, I actually didn't know this. I did actually, when I was aiming for, when I was like a Panzer 4, I was destroying like an M4 Sherman kind of turret or mantlet. I had never actually tested the MG on it. I mean, I did shoot it, but I never actually noticed the components would actually get damaged. So that is something that I'm kind of glad they fixed, because that I didn't see how an MG fire, even when it was broken, how the MG fire managed to damage internal components, which maybe didn't, if it damaged crew, but even then, even if a manlet does get destroyed, it's still protected from MG fire. So I don't even know how that even previously happened, but the matter of the fact that they fixed it is a good thing, which makes it more realistic. So those are kind of the general changes and fixes. What do you guys think overall? I think these are a good start, but I think there's a lot of, maybe one or two things I'm not quite sure on, such as, you know, the tanks are properly slowed down upon driving into a building, which is not good. But one of the main things I'm really happy with is this anti-stuck helper, which is fantastic. Let's move on to Skirmish. So Skirmish is a 3v3. Basically, the 3v3 is re-enabled on Skirmish maps, which I never really knew it was obviously blocked in the first place. So obviously, this is a new thing that they've added and something I've not seen. So this is really good. That means you're able to make battles last longer and fight for longer, make battles more exciting. So that's really good. The Skirmish lobby max player fix. So basically this means that it prevents lobbies with excess players from starting the match. Again, that's really good. That basically stops it kind of from overcrowding with the kind of when you're starting a match. So basically prevent lobbies with excess players from starting the lobby. So if there's more than players actually needed in the game, then basically it won't start until all the excess players are gone, which are really good. The Skirmish lobby is public by default, so this means that when creating a lobby, Skirmish lobbies will now default to online, which is kind of a good and bad thing. Some people prefer, if you're playing with like regularly with a group of friends like that you specifically play with, you might want to, you'll need to change this to privately, because people will just hop on to your game. So if you do want to play a private game, then make sure you change it from online to private, because now it will be default by online, so make sure you change that. The audio, so crew barks and alerts will no longer trigger on friendly fire. Yeah, that's something I did actually notice, that for some reason when you did shoot friendly fire, when you shot your allies, they would just kind of just shout alerts, which wasn't really needed. So yeah, I'm glad that's gone. Also the radio static on crew voices lines have adjusted. I don't really know what that means. If anybody knows what that kind of means, then let me know. But I couldn't really know what that means. If anybody's, I have listened to kind of the crew static. I do sometimes hear crew static, but maybe it's just making it more clear for when the voice lines are announced. It's just maybe making it clear instead of maybe slightly less radio static, if that's what that means. Going on to missions. So the correct tank recommendation is now shown for Hill 285. And the captured US tank will now show German crewmen properly on Battle of St. Lo and La Capalarini. Now, I've still not played those missions yet. I'm still quite behind on these missions. I haven't actually bought the deluxe version yet. I'm actually quite behind on getting it for the skirmishes as well, so I do need to get that. But I don't think these are paid things that you have to get, so but I will definitely catch up on that. But if anybody have seen kind of these kind of things before or have seen these kind of differences, then let me know in the comments and let the community know, as it would be really helpful for me as well, or any other players who have not quite got the game yet, to help them learn the game better for it. Coming on to our last two, for visuals, the camera shake recoil. So all playable vehicles have now been updated to use enhanced camera shake effects for recoil, and this is in preparation for the actual barrel recoil and future update. Now that's actually quite good. I think so. All playable vehicles have been updated to use enhanced camera shake effects. That's really actually cool. So I think when you did get shot, there was actually recoil. So basically, when the kind of the camera shakes when you get shot. But I think now they've made it kind of like an updated version, so it's more realistic. So that is actually a really cool thing. And they're saying that this is an effect or in preparation for an actual barrel recoil and future update. So this is just kind of like a small update of an enhanced version, which will be in the future, which is actually really cool. So they're kind of giving us like wee tips on how it'll actually look like in the future, and I love to see that, because that is giving us some good interesting taste of what has come to the future of kind of stuff like kind of camera shake and recoils and other things. And lastly, the added lock turret hotkey to HUD. So basically, if you know, the default key will be Alt, is now displayed on the HUD at start of the mission. So that's basically, if you press Alt on your keyboard, it will lock your turret into the section there. And that if you want to take like a cool thumbnail, or if you just want to do like a cool picture, then you press Alt, it keeps the turret in place. Or basically, if you kind of want to look around you while your turret's not moving, then you can press Alt, keep your turret in place, and you kind of look around your surroundings to make sure there's no other enemies coming, which is a really cool feature. Moving lastly onto small adjustments. So you've got the adjusted hedgehog collision model, which basically it should help prevent tanks from getting stuck on hedgehogs, which is really good, because I've seen the amount of times that my friendly AI have been stuck on hedgehogs, and I've had to go to actually take control of the tank and move them about, or they do actually sometimes get stuck on hedgehogs themselves. So I'm glad they've kind of now done something about this, and it's probably going to make missions and getting your allies in position a lot quicker. The fixed Tiger's turret netting. So the Tiger netting should now bend with the gun movement. I think they've mentioned this before in a previous update, how the Tiger's netting wasn't kind of moving along with the actual turret, or there was a glitch with it. So now that apparently it should bend with the gun. So if anybody's played the Tiger tank, I've actually played with the Tiger tank with the netting, and it does seem to move okay. So the fact that they've now bend with the gun movement is a really cool feature, and something that is very realistic, and that's something I like. And lastly, for the building model changes, so it fixed floating pieces issue for several buildings. Yeah, I thought that was the most annoying thing, most unrealistic thing, is that when you break down a building or go through a building, you see like bits of kind of building just float in midair for absolutely no reason. I thought it was just really kind of annoying, and your tank would just drive through it. But again, these are still kind of things that they still need to fix, because this game is very early access, or I would say it's relatively new. So I would say all these things, take it with a pinch of salt, and the game is getting better with these small improvements. But I think by the looks of it, there's going to be one big major update coming very, very soon. I don't know when it is, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure Panzer Elite will be releasing it quite soon. So there you go, guys. That is the Call to Arms Panzer Elite EA update version 0.03.00. Let me know what you think of these changes. Do you like it? Do you not like it? One of my best features, I would say, is the anti-stuck helper. One of my favorite features, and this is going to make the game so much smoother to play with, kind of, as well as hopefully it'll be, actually I hope this kind of is with the AI as well. They get this anti-stuck helper, something that wasn't actually really kind of said here. I think it was more talking if we were getting stuck, then we would get it, but it didn't say whether the AI would get it. Let me know in the comments if that's happened to you. But other than that, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have not seen my recent video, which was on a new really stupid game of Gates of Hell, then click left here. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and all your support, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.